Hi everyone, welcome back. Happy to have you here. The table is really quite full. This is Monday. This is going to be sort of a spiritual day, I think, for me in the future. And I've surrounded myself with a whole batch of things, and I'm happy to have you here. And let's just dive into, some self-help, some self-love, and I guess a Monday me day. I thought we'd best light some candles, set a little ambience, and I'm trying something new in that I'm trying to build energy on this table and really get it humming in that, we started this on a Tuesday with the teacup cards, and I brought crystals and herbs for that and a cloth. We went on to Wednesday, I think that was midweek Wednesday, and we did some readings here with some more herbs and crystals. And I've just been building it up. I missed a couple days doing filming elsewhere, but I'm back here again, and I'm not removing the cloths, I'm not removing the crystals, and trying, as I say, to see what it's like to build the energy up over and over again as I bring some happiness, hopefully, to everyone that tunes in. So I did bring down the herbs that I used for tuning into Barb and that beautiful deck that was gifted to me. Now I've got still the herbs, as I say in here, plus the peacock ore that I brought specifically for her. And so just going to see if it makes a difference. Not take the cloths away, not take the herbs away, just build up the energy. But today we are jumping into some self-love, and why not? So I've surrounded myself with all the heart crystals that I have been able to collect. I have a couple of good books to show you, and I've chosen some cards that I wish to work with. But what herbs did I bring today that are new? Well, I brought my big jug of hops. And for me, that is to bring a little bit of relaxation, that feeling of retreat. So I'm just going to place some hops in here. You may not be able to see them with the cloth, but I know that they're there. And we'll just put a little intention, if everybody can do this with me, that this is a video to bring us that rest and restoration after a busy weekend maybe, and getting ready to start again and build throughout the week everything that we can possibly offer and throw in, right? We can get so darn busy. I did bring in some rose quartz, and that's because we have a card from the Love Spells Journey I'm going to bring over as well. The hearts go along well with the Hearts Journey, and I've had this book and deck for years, and it's only just starting to call me now. So we've got the hops down. I'm also bringing in some baby's breath. But before I go on, I wanted to say I did look up some information on using the hops, and it did say in Celtic mythology, hops were present as a herb, and it was a way to bring not only tranquility and sleep, but also connect to Bridget and the underworld. Now that's fascinating. And now we're going to move on to baby's breath, and this is collected off of my property. And this can bring purity, innocence, everlasting love, sincerity, hope, and spirituality. Well, if Monday's going to be a me day and my spirituality, and yours as well, maybe if you have some baby's breath, you can bring that to the table. But you bring whatever you want to bring. This is just something I was called to do today, as well as I brought in some Sweet William that I collected off the property. And you can see love, friendship, protection, good for warding, and inviting beauty. And if we're going to be working with the spirituality, that peacefulness, that lovingness we can bring to ourselves, why not a little beauty as well? But I did find a book, so we'll scatter this and we'll see what the book said about Sweet William. And I do like collecting the Language of Flowers books because I find myself drawn to that quite often. And these I must have left quite chunky, and I'm going to be generous with it. So this is self-love, protection, and all good things. You add to it what you want, as I say. Okay, so Sweet William, let me see. Stick that jar aside. This is one of those floral treasuries, forget-me-nots. It's an old one, but it does have the Language of Flowers in it and plant lore. So these are really beautiful when you find some of these older books. Look at the drawings in there. Absolutely fantastic. And if you just want to look at that, I'll just say that there's a little poem here, or some words, and the borders filled with daisies and pied sweet williams and busy pansies. And there, as we gazed and dreamed and breathed the swooning smell of the packed carnations, the present was always the crown of all, it seemed. Sweet William, small has form and aspect bright, like that sweet flower that yields great love and delight. So I don't know how many books like this I have, but I just love them. And it goes into, I think in the front of this one, some bouquets from people's special moments and what each of the flowers would have symbolized in those bouquets. So that was put out by Bullfinch. So I can put that one aside, and let's go on here. Well, this book, found it in not a thrift store, but they had a table of sale items, and it had been gently used. So I grabbed it. You can see there the author, and it really has some interesting things to share. So I'm just going to skip to a couple pages. I'll put the cards here for you to gander at. I forget how many's in the pack. And then on the backs, it gives you some things to consider or work through. Now, I've chosen my card that I'm going to work with, and I'll show that, but I wanted to get into some of the things. There's a great contents in here. It's written from the heart. It talks all about her journey and dealing with afflictions of the heart. So she says in here, Megan, that love is a funny thing. Now let's maybe look through these cards as I read this so it doesn't bore you to tears. Move this. You can see some of it there. Maybe I can make that better. So these are all symbols of hearts that she was hunting for or were being gifted to her on her healing journey. And she says, love is a funny thing. We have no control over it, and yet we try so hard to put it in a box, tie a ribbon on it, and hand it to another. Poets write about it, card companies simplify it, and each of us struggles with it in some way or another. Maybe we don't trust it. Maybe we don't think we deserve it. Maybe we think no one else has loved and lost like us. Mystics say it's the underlying force of the universe, and that is why we always seek it, even when we push it away. Okay, now there's a couple more things I was really liking. When persons are desperate for healing, she talks about she was feeling desperate for a sign or a clue from the universe that she was on the right path, and she asked to be shown her symbol, one that she would recognize beyond a shadow of a doubt as being from spirit, one that would tell her to stay the course, that everything would work out for the highest good of all. And she was given the image of a heart. The first time she received it was on a bumper sticker, and then they just started to appear everywhere, especially when doubt, regret, or pain overwhelmed me from the choices I knew I had to make. Hearts came into my consciousness in the rocks at the beach, in driftwood painted on the side of a building. They were powerful signs to me that I was following my heart. Each time I tried to go back emotionally to old ways of being, I'd be inundated with images of hearts, as if they were shouting to me to continue to move forward. And she suggested in her writing here that regardless of your choice, guidance is valuable, is always needed, and you're not meant to really walk this earth alone. So she has some really heartfelt things in this book. And I think it's time for me to look at it. Maybe I can zoom in a bit more and adjust. Okay, that's a bit better. So we have connecting hearts. You can see several there. Heart flow. Eternal hearts. Ancient heart. And it goes on. Isn't that one gorgeous? Ooh, and that one's upside down. There's a sign for someone. Passion's heart. I would be inclined to say passionate heart, but it's amazing. I did this ritual for ruins once, and every time you pull a new ruin, you go out for a walk, you go in nature, and you hunt for that ruin. And it's amazing how many times you can find what you're looking for. A heart trap. Shadow heart. Love letters. Remember years ago, people used to save all their letters because that's what you did. You sent letters, especially if you were off to war and your sweetheart was at home. You kept in touch. And those letters got wrapped up in pink bows and saved. So I'm going to show you my heart that I have chosen to work with. There it is, the heart path. Now, if I flip it over, you'll see, are you listening when your heart speaks? Symbols are all around you, directing you to the path you may have strayed from. Listen to your heart above all other voices. So when I go to the book, she's got some ideas in here. Now, mine may not be a heart, so I'll be looking for my symbol and asking for that. And she suggests that there's signs everywhere. The image reminds you to ask for the understanding of how your higher self and spirit wish to speak to you. Look down, look up, and look behind you. It could be a feather, a penny, a symbol, a heart. When you become a seeker, the signs will show themselves to you. You ask about your heart's path when you know you are on it, but are afraid to commit to it, or you know you aren't on it and afraid to realign. The choice is yours to stay in fear or take guided action. Signs will appear. Remember, action is alchemy, action is synergy. Become courageous, connect to your life's purpose. And when you say yes, the universe can unfold you in your best direction. You'll see more symbols when you begin to act. So that is one symbol I'll be hunting for, whether it be a heart or whatever, and I'll have to go into my spiritual walking, my path out in nature, and ask. And I did bring, because we're working with the heart, some raw rose quartz, as well as a couple of palm stones. It's one of the more common, I think, crystals that you can find. And I do have the heart crystal here. That's kind of nice, as well as all of those. But this one is the rose quartz. So now I'm going to show you something totally different again. Because I wanted to do some self-love work, you know, you can do some love spells and rituals, and this one was catching my eye on the shelf. And it is Book and Card Pack by S. Bose. And it's an oldie, and the cards are large. So if you wanted to put these on an altar, certainly they would be exceptional. So maybe I can prop that up a little bit there. We'll take the baby's breath and hide that under there. There we go. Hopefully it doesn't fall. We'll stick this here. Okay, so this is from the Love Spells and Rituals. And there's the back if you need some further information. And I'm going to show you my card, but it's at the bottom of this pile. So we'll work our way through. And when you're in the book, depending on which card you have, it gives you a magical incantation that you can do, and it gives you some spiritual advice or guidance here on the left. It's just a tiny little book, but it's enough to get you going. So here we have, switch my glasses, Apple Blossom and Worthiness. So the kingdom guidance to know you are worthy of love. Yeah, and if you guys want to do some self-love like I'm going to be doing, maybe you can dedicate one day a week. I think, you know, after a busy weekend, Mondays would be great if you have the energy. So this is the plant kingdom with the rose and appreciation. To cherish the lessons of love. And those lessons can be harsh sometimes, but hopefully we don't make the same mistakes twice, is what I always said. This is dolphin and play. You know, have some fun. There's the physical element to acknowledge your body and its appearance. Hands in prayer for peace. Spiritual elemental guidance to speak your truth. Now, what do the backs look like? This. Kind of fun. So there you have the emotions of the heart behind the cup, the chalice. Venus for divine love. The astrological influence of Libra, bringing balance to your relationships. Oh, and I like that it says setting boundaries. Indeed. The deity realm guidance. Maybe you have a deity that you call upon. for working with self-appreciation, self-love, trusting. Here you have Aphrodite in the process of love. A guardian angel. I'm doing an awful lot of work with that right now. And Marilyn from Marilyn's Tarot Take, she's been helping me learn a little bit about the Lion's Gate energy. Didn't know a thing about it. This is the one where you trust your inner voice. The ancestors. I was on another channel this morning and I said, where would we be without that chatter in our head with all the ancestors, guides, and guardians chiming in as mystical, magical people? I look forward to that every day. To follow your dream. The emotional elemental guidance to face your wounds. The broken heart, the wound. But you know, it's stitching up there. There's a little bit of clouds and confusion. And these are the swallows that I love so much. I have never seen birds tend to their babies like a swallow does. It's fascinating to watch. And there is the card that I've chosen to work with. From the Mineral Kingdom Guidance to Know You Are Supported. And I'm just going to read a little bit from the book because I found it quite fascinating in working with this card. So this is the 11th card in the book, just noticing that now. And 11th for me is a doorway. I will be working with rose quartz and hopefully gaining support from that. We could surround the card here with some more energy. But it talks in the book about the stone people. As the Native American Indians refer to the mineral kingdom, it's a part of Earth a long time before humans became inhabitants. Stones and crystals possess the real wisdom of the ancient laws of nature and steadfastly grant us support right through the Earth's core. If you've pulled the card of the rose quartz, take strength in knowing that the stone people are here to support your every need. Loneliness is one of the greatest tests humans can face, but holding a rose quartz in your hand will immediately draw comfort. I think you have to work on that bit. I don't think it's immediate. Its beautiful pink color and silky texture attune to the energy of your heart center, sending waves of love and compassion to you. So it talks about rose quartz. It nurtures our spirits and melts away the darkness. So if you're feeling as if you have found yourself marooned on a deserted island, place one of these remarkable stones under your pillow. Okay. As you sleep, it will work its magic. Alternatively, pop it into your pocket and take hold of it while you go about your business. It will give all the strength and nurturing you need. And it talks about treating yourself to one of the special stones. So if you don't have a rose quartz, you might be looking for one. Some people say that there's more energy in a raw than there is in a formed. But find your own. And maybe it's not even rose quartz. Maybe there's another stone that gives you that support and guidance from the mineral kingdom. And it says, take comfort in knowing the right stone will make itself clear to you. Your living space will automatically respond in joy through the energies it gives out, so in turn will you. So this is all about Self-Love Monday. And if there's something that you do on another day that brings that feeling for you, I'd like to hear it. So I'm going to see what I can do with rose quartz, maybe put some intention into them and find a little peace, a little calm. Mine is not so much about loneliness because I do have the chatter of the ancestors around me all the time. I have my husband who loves me deeply. and I have nature surrounding me. And my thing, as I was talking to Selena, is our driveway is full of pyrite. I'm finding it in all the stones up and down. So I'm going to be looking into also what pyrite has to offer. Because although this card says rose quartz, for me, maybe it's pyrite. We'll check back with you, and if there's anything you wish to share, I'm open to hearing. Blessings. Have a great day.